Hello and welcome to our very first podcast. In this episode, we're going to introduce ourselves and give you a little bit of background into some of our Disney history and what led us to this, having our own podcast. So to start, I'm Sariah.
I'm Aurora.
And together we're just your average Disney travelers. Okay, I guess I will start. Like I said, my name is Sariah and I'm the mom. My husband and I have been married for 24 years and we have two girls. So Aurora is our youngest, you'll meet her in a minute, but we also have a daughter, Acadia, who just got married this summer. We had a COVID wedding, which was exciting and different and special, and we're just happy for them. She and her husband live in Idaho now. They're going to school up in Rexburg. And so we're proud of them. We miss them, but they're doing good things. So about me, my favorite color is green. My favorite animal is the killer whale. I like to cook, but I do not like to bake. I like to read. I love nature. I especially love the ocean and the beach, and really all pretty green things. I love the mountains and anything with water, so like creeks and rivers and streams and waterfalls and all of that. I like Hallmark movies a lot, especially Christmas ones, but all year round. And I also love the Lord of the Rings, so it's like lots of differences there. My favorite character is Minnie Mouse. This is my Minnie mug.
If you can't tell.
If you couldn't tell, and this is what I wore today. Not the ears, but the shirt. This is not uncommon to wear red and white polka dots or anything Disney, honestly. But anyways, okay, Rory, what about you? Right as you get a drink.
Yeah. I'm Aurora. I'm 14. I'm a freshman. I blinked. My favorite colors are purple and black, so as you
Hence,
yeah.
the uniform, the outfit.
Uniform. I wear this every day. Let's see. I like to read and draw. I like to do some math, especially algebra, which is pretty funny because I'm also a very big theater kid, and those two don't usually mix.
Well-rounded. We'll say well-rounded.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm very into acting. That's what I want to do when I grow up. I'm also very big in fandoms. I like Doctor Who, Marvel, Harry Potter. So yeah.
All right. Okay, so a little history. I did not grow up going to Disney. I come from a very large family. I was the oldest of 8 kids, and we couldn't afford stuff like that. So I didn't go really at all until I was a young adult. My husband and I went a couple of times, either before we were married or after we were married, but before kids. But it was like fun trips. We did a lot of, for me, it was all about the thrill rides and the roller coasters and it being an amusement park. The whole theme part of it and the stories and the characters and all of that totally escaped me. I didn't realize what I was missing. Just being there, it was just for the fun rides. But then we had kids, and the first time we went with our oldest, oh my gosh, just magic, like pure magic seeing, and it makes me tear up. That's another thing about me. I tear up. I get emotional.
Yeah.
But maybe that's why I like the Hallmark movies. But anyways, I just would watch her, like her seeing the favorite characters and the stories and everything come to life, and it was just so real for her that it made it real for me, and I believed it just like she did, and it made me emotional to see how excited she was and how just what it did to her. And of course the rides were lots of fun and all of that, but for her it was just the magic of being in this place surrounded by these stories that she'd heard all growing up. And so that's really when I fell in love with Disney travel. And so when we had Aurora, we did the same thing, and it took a while. It was a good 7 years between the kids, and so we had decided to take Aurora to Disney World when she was 5, just like we had done with Acadia. And so, do you remember much about that trip?
Not really.
What?
I remember little things. I just remember it's like specific things, just random thoughts. My first ride was Dumbo.
That was your first ride.
And I remember it being a long ride, which...
Long ride or a long line?
Sorry, line, not ride.
Which I think is hilarious, because it really wasn't. We were there first thing in the morning, and I mean, they did not have Fast Pass back then for Dumbo. They do now. But back then they did not, and so it was the line.
Yeah. I think it was a mix between, like, just being an impatient kid, which I still am, and also just being really excited. And also...
And being new, you didn't
I've
know
never
what to
done
expect.
that kind of thing.
You didn't know how long it was going to take to take your turn. And so it was funny because Acadia took her on that first ride, and she got off the ride, and we said, "How was it?" And Acadia was like, she was not good in line. She wanted to just skip to the front, and she was not patient. But then we had a little discussion, and from the rest of that time, you were fine.
Yeah.
The rest of the rides, that whole trip, she was totally fine. I think it was just that whole learning curve of, we have to wait in this long line of kids before we get to do our fun rides. But what else do you remember?
I remember dancing a lot.
Yeah. She used to be a big, big, big dancer.
I remember specifically being in a shop. I think it was that soda shop in Epcot.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot what it's called. It might not just be that, but like the last time we went there, I remember this. I saw the stairs,
and
I was
flashback.
Like, yeah, I was like, that looks exactly like my memory. So I'm assuming
it was. You did dance there. I do remember you dancing there. You danced in so many places.
Yeah.
Do you remember dancing with the piano? Yep. Casey Jr. Yep. Then there were some stairs. I'm trying to remember where exactly they were outside. Anyways. Anytime, stairs especially made you think of a stage.
Yeah.
And so even if the stairs didn't have a flat top like a landing, you'd just dance on the stairs.
Yeah, I remember dancing on the stairs, and then the music stopped. I was like, it was in like a inside. I was like, huh. And so I just end up humming my own music.
Yeah.
And I just kept dancing.
We have a lot of pictures and video of you dancing. I think some of my favorite were when we were waiting for Chef Mickey's at the Contemporary Resort.
Wasn't I all dressed up as Minnie
Mouse?
Mouse?
Yeah. And you were dancing around with your Minnie Mouse plush stuffed animal. And oh my gosh, it was adorable. So
I actually remember Donald Duck at that.
Do you remember what he did?
Yeah. So I think I dropped it. Or did he take it?
I think he took it.
Okay, he took it. And I remember something. I just remember him messing around.
He took it and he hid it behind his back, and then he was like walking away, and he was going to leave with your Minnie Mouse, and I think you ran after him and grabbed it. And anyways, yeah. Anyway, so you remember dancing, and you remember the first ride. Anything else? What do you remember?
I remember being extremely tired at the end of the day.
Your dad remembers being extremely tired at the end of the day when every single night he was carrying you up on his shoulders or holding you in the line to get back to the buses to get back to the resort.
Yeah.
Do you remember the castle? Do you remember eating in the castle?
Yes.
Because that was the highlight of for that trip.
I remember being dressed up a lot.
It's true.
I dressed up as Cinderella, as Belle, and then as Princess Aurora.
It's true. So when we went with our first daughter and she was 5, this was way back before Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, and it wasn't as common for little girls to be all dolled up in the whole outfits and everything. So when a little girl wore a princess dress, which was allowed, they got so much attention, and everyone would just be like, "Hello, princess," or whatever. And there was at one point we were walking hand in hand. It was my husband and my daughter and myself. Acadia walking down Main Street from the castle. We had just had breakfast at Cinderella's castle, and she was dressed like Cinderella, and people kept calling her Cinderella, and she looked up at me and she said, "My name's still Acadia, right?" And it was just because everybody was calling her princess and Cinderella and everything. And that's why
That's so cute.
we wanted to do it for you, so you could have that. But by the time you were 5, Baby Bobbity Boutique had come around, and people were dressing up more often, and it wasn't quite as common, and it was still fun and magical.
Yeah.
And the
I
characters
remember
responded.
seeing it. Then of course it was.
It was
a
still
long time.
newer,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure it was still going. Either that or people were just doing it themselves. I don't remember for sure.
Well, we didn't do Bibbidi Bobbidi.
Not until you were a couple of years later.
Yeah, but that
We did it
first
in
time we
Disneyland.
just did our own.
I just did it myself. We had a bunch of dresses, and I used to do her hair a ton. She doesn't let me anymore, but I would do her hair, and we just sprayed the heck out of that thing so it would stay, and give her a little bit of blush on her cheeks and everything, and she was happy. And but anyways, yeah. So there were a few more, but not as many as you see now. Now when you go, all the little girls are dressed up, which is still fun. It's still fun for a little girl to do that. But it was even more special when there weren't as many of you.
Yeah.
All right, do you remember Acrisius?
What?
Acrisius, the character, the princess meet and greet there, not in the castle but in Epcot, and you met Aurora.
Is that a place?
Yes, it's called Acrisius, is the restaurant.
Oh, okay.
Welcome to the podcast where Rory still doesn't know. She's eaten there a few times, but that's okay.
Okay,
right.
well, that's a hard thing to remember.
It is a little bit. That's in Norway, in Epcot.
That makes sense.
Okay. So anyhow, do you remember? I think we were talking before because
Yeah.
I think were you dressed as one time when we went there? You were dressed as
Belle,
Belle
and
because
then-
Belle hosted that one.
Yeah, and then I dressed up as
We went twice that trip,
Aurora, yeah.
and we dressed up as Aurora, and you met Aurora. Which I think that wasn't your first time meeting Aurora, but it was I always made a big deal when Aurora met Aurora.
And I also made a big deal since, oh yeah, I'm meeting myself.
Yeah. But do you remember that time when you were dressed as Aurora, and then we had Aurora, and then she said, "There's another Aurora here," and there was another little girl named Aurora, but she wasn't dressed like
No,
Aurora.
she
She
was
was just a regular,
Yeah.
dressed, shirt and shorts.
Like her actual name was Aurora.
Yeah, just like you.
Yeah.
And so we had a picture of the 3 Auroras together, which was cute. But
Which is actually pretty rare. I've only known about like 1 or 2 other kids named Aurora.
anyway, so just after that trip, this is when Aurora turned 5. She was starting kindergarten. And so it was my first time having no kids at home really for all day. And I wanted to do something, but I didn't want to be out of the home. And so being obsessed with planning Disney trips, even though we didn't get to take them that often back then, I ended up falling into the path of selling Disney travel. I was a travel agent. And disclaimer, I am no longer a travel agent. I do not sell Disney travel, and I'm not affiliated with any travel agencies or travel in any kind aside from what we do as tourists or regular travelers ourselves. But at the time, I became a travel agent, and because of that, and specializing in Disney travel, it's kind of expected that you're going to go fairly frequently, and there are some perks that come along with it as you're working, and so it gets a little bit easier. But between that and me having an income that paid for our trips, we really ramped up the amount of travel we were able to do, and we started doing a lot of Disney travel regularly. We would go to Disneyland, Disney World. We started doing Disney Cruise Line, which we love. And my husband and I even were able to go to Aulani a couple of years ago. Rory hasn't made it there.
No.
That's on the bucket list still, I think. But anyway, so we've done quite a bit of travel ourselves, as well as I've booked a lot of travel and helped people plan it. When I was a travel agent, I was really a travel planner, and I would help my clients prepare, and it was really fun and interesting to be able to have all these different scenarios. So people who were going in large groups and small groups and multi-generational, just going with friends, or all these kinds of different trips. And so we have quite a bit of experience of Disney travel, and so that's really kind of why we feel like we have any right to have a podcast about it. And of course with COVID, we miss Disney
Yes.
so bad.
A lot.
And
We had to buy Mickey bars at the store.
we did.
one time.
When we have a really bad Disney day, we put on, like Disney Plus, we'll put on like the Imaginary Story,
Which
and
makes it worse.
it does kind of make it worse because it makes us want to go even more, and then we'll wear our ears and eat our Mickey bars and and feel sorry for ourselves. Because what's funny is a year ago we moved from the Pacific Northwest to Arizona. It was a work transfer with my husband's job. But one of the things that Rory and I were most looking forward to was being so close to Disneyland and being able to go often. Yeah, we could drive.
From here, and it's like only takes like half a day.
Yeah, 6 hours, 6.5 hours. And then, and we did.
Yes,
once.
we did.
First break we got, spring break,
The
we
week
did.
Before Disneyland closed.
Yeah, Disneyland closed like 3 or 4 days after we got home from that trip.
So yeah, less than a week, I guess.
Yeah, and still closed.
They announced it while we were like driving home, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Or pretty close. No. I think they actually announced it the day before they closed. It was pretty last minute notice.
Really?
But there was so much build up and so much anticipation, and people were kind of expecting it because it was.
Yeah, I think you're saying, because I remember when we were driving,
talking
it
about
it came up.
Yeah. Anyhow, and so we've lived here for almost a year now, and we've still only been able to go once, which is in some years less often than we went when we lived in Washington. But that's COVID life for you. So in doing that, we've missed Disney a lot, and one of the things I personally have done because I miss Disney is listen to podcasts. And when I was of course, all of the podcasts I listen to have been Disney themed because that is what I'm missing so much right now. And I found some great ones that I really enjoy, but the majority of them were about Walt Disney World. And we love Walt Disney World. We go to Walt Disney World. We plan to keep going to Walt Disney World, especially since that's the only one open right now. And we will talk about Walt Disney World. But there wasn't really any fun, engaging podcasts about Disneyland, and I was just missing the talk about the Disneyland attractions and the Disneyland shows and all of the things that were there. And so for me, I was just feeling like that was missing. And then I also found that the people that were doing these podcasts, most of them tended to travel a little bit differently than the way we usually travel. They always stay, or almost always stay, at the deluxe resort hotels, or in the Disney villas, the Disney Vacation Club villas, which are the most expensive resorts that you can stay at Disney. And we tend to go either value or moderate, depending on our budget in that trip. And, just different things like that. And they tended to be a little bit more foodies, and lots and lots and lots and lots of talking about the food. And we like the food, but we do a lot more of bringing in a lot of food, or, like snacks and stuff, and just having one meal a day, or, and sometimes it's a sit-down meal, but most of the time it's quick service. And we've, over the years, have done some of the dining and quite a bit of the dining, but like we have not been to every restaurant, and I don't even remember what I've ordered at most of the restaurants. It's like, I just don't focus on that so much. And so, I don't know, as I've listened to these podcasts, I was like, man, they should have a podcast that's just for regular people like us that just go and have a fun time and do a little bit of splurging, but we're staying on a budget. And I don't know, and that's where this kind of became born, where we're just average Disney travelers, and I think that most of the people that we know are just average Disney travelers too, and so that's why we started this.
Yeah.
And then the other thing was, the last thing, all of the podcasts were adults. And I didn't hear any that were, I did hear one mother-daughter one, but the daughter was 31. So there weren't any that had the perspective of the youth, the child, and she's not a little child anymore, but the teen, or, that perspective. Yeah. So I think this will be fun. I don't know, is there anything else that we need to share or we should add?
Don't think so.
That's about it. All right, well, we intend to put this on YouTube. If you're lucky enough to see our ears and all that. I don't think we're going to wear ears every time, because I don't even wear ears every day when I'm in the parks. But so we'll be on YouTube, but we also plan to put on Spotify. And then we've got Instagram and Facebook, and we've created an email, so if you want to contact us. But we hope that you'll seek us out and find us and subscribe to us and like us and all that fun stuff, and let us know what you'd like to hear about. We're going to just share lots of a variety of things, but we hope you're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to it, and that's it. So we'll see you next week.
See you.